Let's see if this works. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows? Welcome back to the live stream. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. My name is Rob. A comment on the news. Do you comment on the news? I bet you do. You know, you sat there on your phone. I'm old enough to remember when we had newspapers. You'd flip through the pages and you go, my Christ, Martha, have you seen this? That's you commenting on the news. Now we do it in a different way. Usually you're swiping, scrolling, you see some news and you comment on it. You share it on your face talk, whatever it is, and you go, my Christ, Martha, you seen this? What is up, Jess? 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 But everybody, hey, what's up? Is that because they change all the names? YouTube, why did you do this? J-Co with a bunch of numbers. That's Jason from Alaska. I wanted to say Australia. Jacob, that's it. Jacob. Jacob, how are you? Ooh, wait, huh? Okay, hold on. How are you? Ooh. There we go. There we go. What's up, man? Alaska. Oh, I knew it was Alaska. I don't know why I want to say Australia. Listen, some of the funniest stuff happened. It was a very merry Creepmas because, you know, old habits die hard. And if you did not catch this, just got out of jail yesterday. Ah, goddamn. Well, it's good you're out on bail. Or maybe no bail. The bail system really should be abolished. It's such a cheap capitalist way to make poor people, or to recreate the debtor's prison. You know, keep poor people locked up and allow wealthy people to get away with whatever they're getting away with. And it just created a whole new capitalist industry. 7,500 bail. Man, well, listen. This is an attorney-client privilege, but just let me say, don't say too much on here. But you know, hopefully it was a bogus. You know, did they Mirandize you? Did they? You know, you got to fight it tooth and nail. That's crazy. That's crazy. But I hope you're doing well and staying safe and all that. The holidays is a hectic time. What are you gonna do? You know. But it was a very merry Creepmas. Did you guys see? Donald Trump's wife hates him. Like, you know. I got a feeling it was an old ploy to just get into America. She did come here on the EB1 visa. I believe that's the Epstein Buddy 1 visa. But if you saw their body language when they were sitting in that room taking phone calls from kids to talk to Santa, my Christ. I didn't even snapshot it, but he's on this side, right? And she's over there, and the body language is like, she hates him. The body language is that of, you know, you disgust me. So it's fascinating to watch, but then, you know, this happened. Let me play it for you. This is on, what is this on? Fox Live Now. Fox Live Now. I linked it in the description. This is Trump tracks Santa, takes NORAD calls with children. You know, a fun-loving thing where the president takes calls from kids. What do you want for Christmas? What do you want Santa to bring you? You been good? You know? And one of the phone calls, oh, old habits die hard. Let's just say the Epstein, the Enigma best friend came out a little bit. It reared its ugly little head. Listen to this. Oh, hold on. Let me turn it up.
Smart. You sound so smart. So do you have a question for Santa, or do you want to know anything about Santa?
So I do have another question. She's 8 years old and she's from Salisbury.
So this is key too. When they put the kids on, I forgot to set this up. So the beginning of this video, you can watch it. It's hilarious. It's kind of a mess. And Melania's like, can you just get these friggin' kids to call me so I don't have to talk to this pervert next to me? And they establish, like, hey, we're going to say who the kid is, their age, where they're calling from. And then we'll put the kid on to talk to you, Mr. Fascist President. So they give him the age, where he's calling from, where they're calling from, and all that. And that's key to understanding this. That this old dementia idiot is given their age, like you just heard right there. This is da-da-da, she's 8-year-old, da-da-da-da-da. And then
North Carolina.
Good.
North Carolina. 8 years old from North Carolina. If you just heard that. Hold on. Let me rewind it a little bit.
We're passing you to Savannah. She's 8 years old and she's from Salisbury, North Carolina.
Savannah, 8 years old from Salisbury, North Carolina. Probably a deep red state, losing their Medicare layoffs. Wasn't there a lumber mill just closed down in North or South Carolina? All thanks to Donald Trump's tariffs. So we established the baseline for the audio you're about to hear. Now, a normal person who could, remember camera, TV, woman, camel, zebra, tiger, people who can pass those enigma tests, or what are they called? Personality tests. What did he get, a mood ring at the end of that thing? But normally people who can remember camera, TV, woman, bear, tiger, lion, oh my, you'd hear, oh, Savannah, 8 years old, Salisbury, North Carolina, and a few seconds later, you'd remember that. I don't know what's going on here, but here's the rest of the call.
Good. Good. Hi. How are you? Merry Christmas.
It is.
Hi. How are you doing? Okay.
You and your family. Yes.
That's good. I'm fine. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
I'm 8.
What?
Oh, Creepmas. Merry Creepmas, everybody. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you? Dude, she's calling in to talk about Santa Claus. Stop fucking... Stop with your Epstein ways. Oh, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. He moves in Epstein ways. What's in the latest drop of the Epstein files? Are poor people still cheering for billionaires instead of themselves? Yes, Sassy Mo. Good to see you, by the way. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, Old Lake, Michigan. That's what it is. Old Lake, Michigan. Yes, I did. Thank you, E. Burns. Did you have a Merry Christmas? Oh, we were filling in Jacob. Yeah, we got to fill in Jacob. Epstein files are leaking out. Drip, 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 drip. Let's see. I didn't have... This is what they look like, Jacob, when they came out. Just so you know. Because they're still trying to hide it. They're still trying to hide it. We're waiting. TikTok, bitches. We're waiting. But they redacted a bunch of stuff. And then Jacob, just to catch you up, the funniest part, because it's a really heinous, horrific thing, the entirety of the Epstein files. But there was a funny part. It's like the government redacted them, but if you just scrolled over it and copied and pasted the whole thing and or copied it and then pasted it in a new Word doc, some of these Epstein files that were redacted could be unredacted because the government didn't do it properly. Like they didn't do it the official redaction method. They did it like black marker through the computer so you could actually copy the words from underneath. peak idiocracy. Oh my god. So yeah, sorry everybody, welcome. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm catching up Jacob, longtime subscriber, longtime family member of the channel. So we're just setting the baseline for understanding when I say the president had his old Epstein habits creeping out, rearing their ugly head. You know, he's trying to keep those habits well hidden. Hold on. You know, he's trying to keep these habits well hidden. His friendship with the Clintons and all the gross stuff they did. But it peaks out, you know, in clips like this. This was again on Christmas. It's like, bro, keep it in your pants. It's fucking Christmas, dude. It's Christmas, my guy. My guy, you don't need to tell every young child that they're beautiful. Well, I'm sure he doesn't. The little boys probably didn't get a compliment like this, you know?
Yes. That's good. I'm fine. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
I'm 8.
Yo, if you're the parent listening on speakerphone, you're like, all right, we gotta go. I think we need. You expect Chris Hansen to drop in three-way into the call. Well, what exactly do you mean by beautiful? How old are you? Chris Hansen. Love Chris Hansen. He's a weirdo. Why do people not care about justice for abused children? Because they're in a cult, you know? When you're wearing a hat that says Trump was right about everything, critical thinking isn't like a hobby of yours. So you just regurgitate what this dementia turd says. Because most people do. Most people want justice. But the Republicans and people that are in this cult, and sig hail to their leader, you know, if they wanted justice, accountability, they would not redact the names of the co-conspirators. They've had these files for over a year. They would have had them prepped and ready to be released like they promised last year in their campaigns. That's why they appointed Dan Bajina and Cash App Patel to their high positions in the FBI, because these were the two podcast bros that were like, we're going to release the files, you know. And then they're redacting over 100 pages of it. And at the same time, they're redacting the hoax. You know what I mean? Like, none of it makes sense. So the reason they don't want justice is because they want to protect this felon. But someday soon, we will be seeing this lineup. You know, we're going to hold these people accountable for their lies, for their breaking the law, for not being transparent, for their criminal behaviors, criminal-esque. By the way, speaking, you know, if you just look through some old, again, hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. That was a couple days ago. I don't know when it was. I've been working all the week. I have no idea when Christmas was. It's been a blur. You hardly get any sleep, and then you got to go back to work. But just to recap, I linked this video down below. This was from Fox News. Fox News again, by the way. Old habits die hard for this old pervert.
You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
Uh, that's creeptacular. Oh my god. Oh my god. Um, but for the people who are still in a cult that will like write that off and be like, he meant nothing by it. He's sweet to children. Oh really? Read about Lake Michigan. Read about Lake Michigan. But the other thing I found, because there was this clip of Barbara Walters interview, I forgot, how hardcore Barbara Walters could be in interviews. She's a gem. And I forgot about this audio that Rand Paul used in an anti-Trump commercial, where Donald Trump himself, this is Donald Trump saying, I consider myself a Democrat. I'm friends with Hillary Clinton. I've known her for a long time. I just want to play some of this. Again, this is Rand Paul's Donald Trump commercial.
In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat. I've been around for a long time, and it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. But if you go back, I mean, it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats. Healthcare. A liberal on healthcare. We have to take care of people that are sick.
A liberal on healthcare. It turns out not so much. If he can get a bunch of idiots to follow his lead, he'll take away your healthcare. But back in the 90s and 2000s, he was a liberal on healthcare. You gotta take care of people. Donald Trump says.
Universal health coverage. I love universal. Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I mean, I'm a little biased because I've known her for years. I live in New York. She lives in New York, and I've known her and her husband for years, and I really like them both a lot. I think she really works hard, and I think she does a good job. New York. She lives in New York. I'm a little biased because I've known her for years. Universal health coverage. I love universal. Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I mean, I'm a little biased because I've known her for years. I live in New York. She lives in New York, and I've known her and her husband for years, and I really like them both a lot. I think she really works hard, and I think she does a good job, and I like her. She's a really good person and
Listen, Rand Paul, your commercial team went a little hard on the. Like, who is playing that music in the background? You got to lower it. You got to let his words when he's saying, I really like Hillary Clinton. I'm friends with her and her husband. I've known him for years. You got to let that be the amplifying message, not this background noise like you're in a Michael fucking Bay trailer. My God, guys. Get it together. Jesus. But it is Rand Paul after all. Hold on. Trump's Doge, 420 million in current impeding contracts, mainly focused on DEI initiatives, have also been canceled. There was some stuff in the news about Doge too. Where was it? Hold on. I've seen some stuff about Doge. Oh, this was it. Musk's Doge failed to slash government spending, instead led to a 6% increase, which we all knew. All they did was like cut the funding for like the stuff that helped communities, USAID, Department of Education, CFPB, the thing that protected consumers and went after the monopolies and the corporate titans. And it turns out the workforce dropped. I mean, what are you going to expect when you're laying off, most of the government, just so they can't come after you? He's like, who do you go after first? All the attorney generals, the CFPB, anybody who had a lawsuit against Tesla or SpaceX or whatever else he's involved in. He just went after those. He cut all that. That's what he was doing first. And then he mined our data. But the increases elsewhere dwarfed the savings. Again, this off the front page article, I don't even trust because they're citing the Cato Institute. And if you don't know what the Cato Institute, we went over this the other day. Hold on one second. Cato Institute. It's like where Tucker Carlson is a fellow. Cato Institute, it's a public, it's a prominent American libertarian think tank. Individual liberty, limited government, free markets, and peace, which is all bullshit because they don't believe in free markets. If they did, they wouldn't allow these mega mergers where the highest bidder, the one with the biggest profits, can consume all the other businesses, and that's what's happening. They also don't believe in individual liberty because if you ask a libertarian if women should have the right to do with their body what they want, they'll tell you no. They don't believe in limited government because they need that government. They only believe in limited government when it comes to like the CFPB, the Consumer Bureau, going after these corporate scammers, or when they overcharge you, or they get in trouble for something that wasn't legit, or the wording, or there's a million different things. You could look it up. So that's where they want the limited government on regulations against their companies. They don't want the limited government when it comes to individual liberties, like women having the right to choose, voting issues, gerrymandering, all that stuff. So it's a bunch of hypocrisy. And this article cites the Cato Institute, where they're not for any American citizen. The Cato Institute is a front to push out research and information and stats in the narrative that fits the corporate design. That's all the Cato Institute is. And people like Tucker Carlson belong to the Cato Institute. They're fellows. So if you ever wonder, well, who would be a part of that? It's people like Tucker Carlson, absolute dirtbags. But it was interesting to see even these more right-wing news outlets or journals or front pages or even citing like, Doge was a mess. Anybody get their dividend check? No? Nobody got their dividend check? When we need people understanding this, like the tax rate needs to be much higher for these billionaires and 100 millionaires. Hey, Rob, do you ever run into Sam Hyde in Boston? Sam Hyde? Like the YouTube cat? The Sam Hyde? Is that who you're talking about, foul mouth? Sam Hyde? I'm guessing that's who you're talking about, right? It says he's a comedian? He's not a comedian. Come on. That's got to be a joke. He's not a comedian. Sketch comedy group. I understand he does sketch comedy. Oh, I didn't know he was from Fall River. I thought he was a Rhode Island cat. I thought he seems, well, Fall River is practically Rhode Island. He's very much, he's got a Rhode Island paradigm. That's what he's got. Newport is greater than Boston. Listen, I love Newport Beach. I love touring the mansions. I love that area. But is it greater than? Really? I don't know about that, man. Yes, sir, foul-mouthed actual. No, never run into Sam Hyde. But again, I think he roams about as south as you can go in Massachusetts. Fall River is essentially as south as you can go. I always thought he was from Rhode Island. I didn't know he was from Massachusetts. That's cool. But I don't really like Sam Hyde. I think he's kind of not a comic. You know what I mean? I don't know. But whatever. I appreciate the abstract comedy world. I don't know. The movie Rampage, like with The Rock Johnson, who's just a normal guy. Sam Hyde. Well, did you guys see the Sam Hyde appearance on Harlan Williams' podcast, where Sam couldn't hang with Harlan Williams, who is, a legend in the comedy realm. And that really gave a new meaning to Sam Hyde not being a comic. I think he got away with it for so long. because there's a group of people who think what he does is funny. Um, but when you put those people next to actual comedians like Harlan Williams, and Harlan was just riffing with them and yes and sketch comedying him, which if he's going to be in Google as a sketch comedian, I think he should be able to hang with Harlan Williams. You just take nothing seriously. Nothing is serious, and you just goof. And he like lost his mind, kind of. So. Anyway, I need to vacuum my living room. Toodles. All right, Zuckermond. Toodles. Have fun vacuuming. Who's Harlan Williams? Oh, I wish I could pull it up on the screen. Harlan, Harlan Williams. He's a comic. He was in Half Baked. Butternuts. Say butterscotch. He's done a bunch of comedy. He's a Canadian comic. He's been in the scene forever. I don't know what other big movies he's in. I remember going to see that movie, Half Baked, and he was so funny in that. But he's done a ton of stuff. He's a great comic. Was he on SNL? Leprechaun, come on. Harlan Williams was on SNL? I don't believe that. Was never a cast member on SNL. Never. Never. I didn't think so. He was never on SNL. But Harlan is a very, very funny comic. Let me see if I could play a clip of something of his. Maybe you'll recognize.
At the end of this year,
That's not him, sorry. I don't know what I can play. Let's see.
You know what they call cigarettes? The British bit, they call...
I don't know what I can play on here. This is Harlan Williams. Something that I didn't vet. Let's see.
Did you know that KFC is one letter away from being fucked?
That's Harlan Williams, okay. Benzo Scarlet. I hope you had a good Christmas. Good comedy has no swearing. That's an interesting take. I disagree. I think good comedy is about timing. Swearing is irrelevant. But I do think your point extends to, like, I did not like, what's his name? Bob Saget. I know, he was a good guy. He was on Full House. Loved him there. I just think Bob Saget's whole comedy bit, his whole persona, was to completely detach from the Full House thing. So he went overboard and he just said vulgar stuff for the vulgarity of it. And I hate that, Because, like, I tell my kids, if they're going to say something, whether it's mean or, gross, funny, whatever, I say, you got to be clever. Because if you're not clever with it, anyone can do that. A 5-year-old can say poo-poo diarrhea and try to make people laugh. And I felt like that's what Bob Saget did. There was no, like, thought to his comedy. And I think he was just doing it so he could totally try to wash away the image of, what was his name? Danny Tanner on Full House. So I've always just, something about beauty. Oh, I like how you spelled that. I agree with that Bob Saget take. Yeah, and I've seen his stand-up. It is just, I didn't get it, It was like, okay, we get it. We get it. You're not Danny Tanner. We get it, Bob. You're not Danny Tanner. And to all the comics who loved him out there, I get it. He was a nice guy. I'm just talking about, like, did you really think he was a good comic? Or did you just, did you just want to be nice to him? Because when he was talking about, whatever gross thing with the Olsen twins, it was like, we get it, dude. We get it. You're not Danny Tanner. Awesome. Shut up. Like, write your comedy. Right. Don't just go up there and say gross, vulgar things for the sake of not being Danny Tanner. Oh, anyways. Carlin Clay. Obviously, Carlin is the GOAT. Carlin. No trophy hunted. God damn, these maggots come in here and they don't understand anything I'm saying. Let me explain this to you. Greg Giraldo roasted Bob pretty good. Man, I miss Giraldo. God damn. He was such a great comic. Lost too soon. So, trophy hunted, what you don't maybe comprehend is Danny Tanner, the role Bob Saget played in the late 80s through the mid 90s on Full House, became his persona. That show was huge. So Bob Saget probably felt, because you see this in Hollywood, people get, there's a word for it, typecast. When people play one specific role, you know, they're known as bad cop number 2. So Bob probably felt he was typecast in life as this Danny Tanner type, which was very clean-cut, OCD, you know, good dad, never, you know, challenged the rules and towed the line always and was clean-cut and yada, yada, yada. No personality, not funny. And because of the show's immense success, he probably got called Danny Tanner everywhere. Everyone probably thought that's who he was. So what I'm trying to say to you is his comedy came off like he was trying to dissociate from that whole Full House image. He wanted to not be known as Danny Tanner so much that he went over the top, and that was all his comedy was. Over the top spewing of vulgarities for the vulgarness of it. You know, and if you've ever watched a stand-up, that's it. It's like diarrhea and talking about banging the Olsen twins. And you're just like, okay, anyone could have done this. I guess because you're Bob Saget, you get to do it on stage, but it wasn't like great comedy that, you know, people are like, oh shit, that made me think. Or like Carlin, where you're like, damn, you know, that's a very clever way to word it. He was just vulgar. Bob, his comedy sign should have said, come see Bob Saget be vulgar, you know? So, thanks for not understanding something else I've talked about, Trophy. Oh my God, Gur Lacknomore. I love that you called him Mitch Hedron. I feel like that's an R.M. Brown reference. Mitch Hedron. Mitch Hedberg, love him. Yes to Mitch Hedron. Can we just call him Mitch Hedron from now on? Is that Gur Lacknomore? Do you watch R.M. Brown on YouTube? Because I'm guessing that's an R.M. Brown reference. I'm hoping it is. That is so funny. Mitch Hedron. No. Okay, Hedberg. Oh, you don't watch R.M. Brown? Okay. Andrew Dice Clay is so bad. Here, can I play you Carlin on Andrew Dice Clay? Because I hated Andrew Dice Clay. There were friends growing up that loved Dice, and they would quote him. And I would always be like, what the fuck are you quoting? It was just dumb. Again, it was like shock comedy just to be a shock comic. But I want to play you, hold on. It was Carlin on Larry King. Larry King talking about Andrew Dice Clay. It's a very poignant clip. Carlin, yes. I want to play this clip for you because who said that about Dice Clay? I want you to understand what, not I, but I agree with this sentiment, some of the greatest comics thought about Dice Clay. And this is Carlin. Hold on.
I would defend to the death his right to do everything he does. The thing that I find unusual, and it's, you know, it's not a criticism so much, but his targets are underdogs. And
so he's talking about Andrew Dice Clay, and he says Andrew Dice Clay's targets of comedy are underdogs. Okay? The marginalized, the minorities. I'll let Carlin finish.
Comedy traditionally has picked on people in power, people who abuse their power. Women and gays and immigrants are kind of, to my way of thinking, underdogs. And, you know, he ought to be careful because he's Jewish. And a lot of the people who want to pick on these kind of groups, the Jews are on that list a little further. You got women, gays, gypsies. boom, and then suddenly you find Jews, and Andrew.
Suddenly Andrew's arrested.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, he should do what he wants, and...
Why does he get away with it, do you think, then?
Well,
He has never laughed at jokes about the
he's
poor.
appealing, I think he's appealing largely, I think his core audience are young white males who are threatened by these groups. I think a lot of these guys aren't sure of their manhood, because that's a problem when you're going in through adolescence. Could I be? I hope I'm not one of them. And the women who assert themselves and are competent are a threat to these men, and so are immigrants in terms of jobs
So that's why we as an audience then will laugh.
You say we. I don't think you're.
No.
But I
mean
think you're
collective we.
I think that's what is at the core of that experience that takes place in these arenas. Is a certain a sharing of anger and rage at these targets. And I'm sure Andrew isn't that angry at them. I'm sure he's playing it as a comic. I would.
So, I'm glad I got to share that with you. That's George Carlin on Larry King Live talking about Andrew Dice Clay and his comedy. And if you've ever heard Dice Clay's comedy, it's very focused on the marginalized group, underdogs. And Carlin makes a poignant point to call out the audience. The audience is insecure, and that's why it's even funnier, and they'll worship some of these comics because they're picking on the right people, the people that maybe I feel threatened by, or my insecurities are triggered by these people. And Carlin says, young adolescent males, and that's specifically true to when I was growing up. There were kids in high school that really loved Dice, where they would repeat him and do his and I never thought I was like, what the fuck is this? But my mom raised me on George Carlin, got me the books. We had the VHS jamming in New York, so I had a whole different take on comedy. So when I heard stuff like that, I was like, is that like something you made up? Like that's the thought process behind that kind of comedy. It was just low-hanging fruit towards underdogs, as Carlin puts it. But it didn't exclusively extend to just youths or the insecure white men, like Carlin said, that feel threatened by the gays and the women, or secure women, or maybe they're gay or whatever. But that transcended any generation, because you see older people who feel still insecure to a confident woman who's, a single earner, and, whatever else. And you can apply that to any of these underdog groups. And these guys will still latch on to, you see it with Trump right now. They latch on to him because they're like, ooh, we got to get the immigrants out. They're taking our jobs. And it's like, there's a meme circling. If a person crossing a border can take your job, you might need to reevaluate like your situation. Because a lot of these MAGAs are saying like, they're taking our job. And it's like, really? Are you picking, fruit in the fields? Like, is that what you do? Are you a dishwasher? Because these are traditionally the jobs held by, first generation immigrants. Not all the time, but, the ones that they're focused on. So it's just this weird irony of like, really, are they taking our jobs? Because last I heard, like, there aren't many people across the border who are being pilots. And we have a massive shortage for pilots here in America. And that is like, or air traffic controllers, and those are really difficult jobs to not only obtain, but to do. And it's just, again, these people, their insecurities override their critical thinking function in their brain. So essentially, they're making their whole choice in life is disrupted by this insecurity. They can't even see that, like, if you got rid of every immigrant, the people who actually determine what the jobs are making, and the layoffs aren't going to change their minds. The CEOs and the corporations have laid off, we just talked about it yesterday, laid off over 1 million people this year. Donald Trump allowed, if he believes in creating jobs, why did he allow Elon to fire most of the government? Well, because they wanted loyalists in. But you know what I mean? Like the hypocrisy of that. If Donald Trump really believed in American jobs, why isn't he making all of his merch here in America? Why is his guitar, his shoes, his Bible, all that stuff made in other countries? But because they're preying on that insecurity, that fear in these people's heads, those people are prone to make bad decisions based on that fear. You know, fear will make a man do crazy things, or a woman. And instead of seeing that, like, oh, the immigrants, not only they've been rounding them up, but at the same time, there's been massive layoffs happening, and prices have been rising, and no job is keeping your wages at the same rate as the prices going up. When the tariffs were coming in, and Walmart was like, hey, the consumers are going to have to eat this tariff, and Donald Trump got mad that the CEO of Walmart said that. He didn't say, and I'm also going to raise my people's wages. I'm going to, you know, with the tariff cost, I'm going to raise wages so people can afford it. He didn't say that. He just said the consumer is going to have to suck this up. You know, we're going to make more profits. The employees aren't going to get more, and the consumer is going to eat it. So even with that happening at the same time as Donald Trump's, you know, brown shirts rounding up immigrants, these people can't even understand that, like, bro, the thing you wanted that you voted for him is happening, and none of the other stuff, like the jobs aren't coming back, the pay isn't getting better, houses aren't more affordable. So I really wanted to play that Carlin clip because it gives you insight to not just politics, but to people's choices and who they, you know, find funny. I mean, it's very relevant, you know? Man, I'm just tired. Hold on. Vinifica delirium. My apologies for absolutely butchering that name, but it's cool. I don't know what it means, but it's very Latin-esque. Man, I'm just tired of all the political stuff. The loudest mouths drown out all the reasonable people. Well, and that's by design, you know. The clickbait, the rage, the dumb, the conspiracy, the Joe Rogans, if you will, but now he's mainstream media. Not only do the algorithms, you know, boost hate and misinformation because it's a little more spicy, but people like Joe Rogan, who gets a $100 million Spotify contract, if you look at who's one of the largest shareholders of Spotify, Peter Palantir Eater. You know Peter Thiel? He owns Palantir. He's the one with all the government contracts where they're surveilling us at every waking moment. They want to develop their own Skynet. Why do you think Peter Thiel and Spotify wanted to amplify Joe Rogan so much? You think he was easily manipulated? Do you think he would be a good pawn in their game of human chess? I don't know, but possibly, because if Joe Rogan can be that easily duped, which he is by his own admission, a lot. Like Joe Rogan will say it on his show. Oop, the internet tricked me again. Why'd it do that? You know, it's like he's not a boomer, but he is a boomer. These people are amplified on purpose, you know, and it just so happens that once Joe Rogan got that $100 million Spotify contract, he became real good friends with Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and all of Peter Thiel's friends. His whole circle of friends, the birds he flocked with, became much different. The elites. So who do you think, where do you think his perspective, his narrative is forming from now? It's forming from that perspective, that narrative, what Peter Thiel wants Joe to think. Joe is not a free thinker. He is also not counterculture or an underdog. Joe is a $100 million man mainstream, just like Donald Trump. We heard him earlier in this video. I played the clip. Donald Trump in the 90s said, I'm a Democrat. I'm liberal. I would like universal health care. You know, he said, I'm friends with Hillary Clinton and Bill and her husband, and I've known them for a long time. You know, these people are grifters, man. They are grifters. They are absolute chameleons. You know, they'll form to whatever they need to for their own benefit. Oh, it's sad. So yeah, I'm tired of the reasonable voices, but not even reasonable, just people who point things out like this, you know? Donald Trump talked about the good old days, right? Well, why didn't he talk about in the 40s, the 94% tax rate on income over 200,000, which today would be income over 3.5 million. That would really help us. In fact, so much so that here in Massachusetts, wait, not that one. Sorry. Where's the other one? Here in Massachusetts, we did a wealth tax, a millionaire's tax. And the millionaire's tax fixed bridges, funded buses, hired teachers, made community college free to get a bachelor's degree, and school meals free. And guess what? We got 39% more millionaires than before the tax, before the millionaire's tax, 39 more percent. And they're trying to do this millionaire's tax, I think it's in New York or California. And look, oh, California. Ro Khanna is trying to pass a 1% tax on billionaires for 5 years, only for 5 years, to pay for the Medicaid cuts. And Peter Thiel threatens to leave. You know Peter Thiel, he's Joe Rogan's good friend, helped bankroll Joe Rogan's $100 million Spotify contract. He's a big investor in Spotify and other things. Well, I guess he lives in California, and he's threatening to move to Texas. No, I'll move if you try to tax me. Oh, because a 1% tax on a billionaire would what, bankrupt you? You know, if so, then Peter, you're living outside of your means. You should budget if you can't live on $1 billion. I'm sure he has more than $1 billion, but they threaten this all the time. And you just tax them. Really? You're going to leave the Sunshine State and go to Texas? Well, I hope you buy a couple extra generators, because I heard their Congress people bail when there's a snowstorm. Peter, why don't you have fun going from California to Texas? Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. Really, you should leave and go now. Get the fuck out of there. You know, if you can't afford a 1% tax for 5 years and you're, oh my God, I gotta get out of here, I'll be bankrupt. Like, get the fuck out then. Go live with Joe Rogan. You know, I'm sure he's got a spare couch. Hold on. So in showing you this story, you know, and I love Ro Khanna mocked him. Ro Khanna said, oh, we'll miss you, or some shit like that. He was like, he mocked him in a tweet, which I love. Did it say? Oh, he said, I echo former President Franklin D. Roosevelt when he said, hold on, I can't see it. Sarcasm of economic royalists when they threaten to leave. I will miss them very much. Because Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of the greatest presidents in the history of the world, you know, basically helped get all of America out of the Great Depression. And he did it with high taxes, with social programs, social welfare, putting people to work with these huge infrastructure things. And he had a lot of speeches that you can read or you can listen to where he talked about, you know, if your business can't afford to pay somebody a living wage, you know, where they could buy a home, have healthcare, have vacations. And he says that. He wanted a second economic bill of rights. He says, then your business shouldn't exist in America. And when people were like, oh, well, we'll leave America, he said, well, I'll miss you very much. He said, I don't give a fuck. Get out of here. But the point to him threatening to leave is that the billionaires in Massachusetts did the same thing. They said, oh, we're going to leave then if you put that millionaire's tax. And it turns out none of them left. Oh, right, you're going to leave Massachusetts? I wish you would. Get the fuck off Cape Cod. You own all the houses and they're all on Airbnb. You've ruined the rental market. You've ruined the housing market. The billionaires with their extra money and all their assets just needing to buy up more assets are the ones ruining the housing market. We don't need more houses. For every one homeless person in America, there's 25 empty homes. We don't need more houses. We need people to stop fucking being landlords. The lords of the land. Because the wealthy keep getting more money. They're extracting it from the working class. That's what's happening over the past 20 years. They've extrapolated all our wealth. Just look at how much wealth has moved from us, from working people, to the billionaire class. We're going to have a trillionaire. I mean, it's in the news all the time. And where do you think they got that wealth? Well, they're not working hard. It's us. They're exploiting us. They're stealing the wealth we create. And they're calling it low wages, minimum wage. And these motherfuckers, man, they threaten to leave. I wish you would, but they don't. In fact, our millionaire population grew by 39% after a wealth tax. So good on you, California. New York's pushing for it. Good on you guys. Keep pushing. And look at this. You're going to leave Massachusetts first in education, second in healthcare, first in quality of life, first in test scores, top 10 least poverty. You're gonna leave Massachusetts. Okay, have fun. Fucking don't threaten us with a good time. We'll get to some Epstein stuff. This is the other thing I want to show you. I talk about this all the time. And I'm glad somebody made a meme out of it, because the other way you were exploited is in the 80s, the idea of not getting a holiday bonus was so crazy, it made the plot of a movie. I love this movie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I watch it every year, multiple times, because it is just one of those perfect movies. You know, you could throw it on with the family, you could watch it, and it never gets old. Never gets old. And the whole plot of this movie is Clark Griswold, with his holiday bonus, with his Christmas bonus, he's already put the down payment on an in-ground pool, and he's expecting the holiday bonus to come. And of course, because this is the 80s and Reagan started to deregulate and, you know, break up strikes and legalize stock buybacks and basically hand the country over to corporate CEOs, this is, you know, the start of it. We can pinpoint it all back to all the degradation of workers' rights and the degradation of the working class. We can pinpoint it back to National Lampoon's Vacation, where instead of a Christmas bonus where he was going to use it with the family to get an in-ground pool, he gets a like cheese of the club or jelly of the club month. And then old crazy Quaid, you know, goes and gets the CEO and brings him. And this was the beginning of it. You know, now people are probably like, there was a Christmas bonus? What? You know, now people probably don't even understand that. There's no respect for the workers anymore. You're not respected for longevity at a job. You're not respected for anything at a job. And then because the media is owned by these for-profit corporations, the media spins it like workers aren't loyal anymore. Gen Z will job hop for better pay. It's like, yeah, that's why fucking people work, for pay. People aren't trying to be your friend at fucking work. They're there so they don't die. That's what we go to work for. And the corporations want to change the narrative like it's the workers who aren't loyal. Where in reality, what I teach people is, if you're going for a new job, talk to the person that's been there the longest. See how they're treated. See if their money equates to their length of time spent there. That's an important thing for you to find out. People who've been at a company for a while find out their gripes and the things they like. Because if you find out that they've been there 10 years and they're paid as much as you entering, that might not be a place you want to invest 10 years of your life in. And a lot of companies do this, you know. They don't negotiate raises. It's 2% every year, which is bullshit, because then you're losing value in your money. You're getting a pay decrease just because of how greedflation has been. That's why unions are important. Negotiating, you know, fair contracts, fair pay. Instead of CEOs getting huge compensations and bonuses and golden parachutes. We used to, as a workforce and a middle class, used to have holiday bonuses. And then I seen fucking the craziest, look at this. On Reddit, I seen this today. Somebody says, wait, Americans don't have Christmas bonuses? And I thought, you do? Where are you? And this was from Reddit today. This person said, I thought this was commonplace. At least I'm aware many Latin America, LATAM countries do this. If you're from another country, what are the federal law benefits for the end of the year? Americans, pay attention. Oh, wait, Charlie Kelly. Sorry, I wasn't seeing any of the comments. Oh my goodness, Charlie Kelly snuck in and I missed his comment. My apologies. Oh, Jesus. I totally missed it, Charlie. Oh, no. Right here. Quote, any business that pays less than a livable wage has no right to continue in this country, FDR. You can look that up. I'll play it for you tomorrow or whenever I go live again. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. This channel is fighting for the working class, the middle class, to exist in America. Right now, it is being eroded every second of the day. And if you don't believe me, let's look at Latin America countries and what happens around the holidays for them. I try to teach people about other places in the world that have amazing things and say, why can't we have nice things? Oh, because MAGA wants to defend a PDF file, Chief Queef, and they don't want to even recognize that, like, he was one of the bad CEOs. He didn't treat his contractors well, his employees well. He knew they were being stolen by Jeffrey Epstein and did nothing. You know what I mean? Like, did not. The big part of that story when Donald Trump was like, oh, yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell stole Virginia Giuffre from me. The big story was like, and you knew what was going on and you said nothing? Like, we're finding out now? Like, what fucking criminal behavior is that? You know, you co-conspirator. My God, you said nothing? You knew these young girls would be taken to Jeffrey Epstein who didn't have a massage parlor and just lived next to you and you said nothing? Oh my God. See how the mainstream media like makes this narrative not exist? They're just like, oh, so she was stolen from me. Interesting. You know? And it's like, no, why didn't you do anything, bro? Follow-up questions. That's how you do it. Okay, so where were we? If you're from another country, so this person says, in Mexico, we have a minimum per law yearly Christmas bonus known as aguinaldo. Aguinaldo. Sorry about pronunciation. That's half a month's salary, though many companies like mine give admin workers a month of salary. In Mexico, they have aguinaldo. That means at the end of the year, by law, you get half a month's salary. That's their Christmas bonus. Mexico is kicking America's ass in Christmas bonuses. All you war on Christmas people, all you Fox News people, all you maggots that want to say Merry Christmas, who gives a shit about saying it? How about we celebrate it with a month's salary at Christmas time? You're not going to see this on Fox News. You're not going to see turn into Jessica Waters saying, did you know that in Mexico they give you a month's salary or a half month's salary at December as a Christmas bonus? Why as Americans, we're the greatest nation in the world, why aren't we doing that for our great viewers? Why aren't they saying that? This is enshrined in the federal labor law. Think of it now, what extra benefits does American federal labor law have? None. We have to earn our sick time, earn our vacation time. We're guaranteed no parental leave. When you have a child, you're guaranteed nothing. We're the only country in the world, and somehow the working class has been tricked to think like, oh, it's other workers' fault. It's people who work for a living whose fault this is. No, it's not, you morons. It's the people that you've elected who've sped you this lie and tricked you into believing that it's other workers who are controlling the laws. Doesn't even fucking work like that. Oh my God. Anyways, we have profit sharing in May. We get 10% of the profit from the company the previous year, 5% divided by attendance, 5% divided by salaries. We get free public health care. We cannot be fired easily, and labor disputes are stacked on the side of the worker. Pregnant women get 3 months of leave and cannot be fired. 12 days of mandated vacation year one, plus 8 mandated holidays. Infinite sick leave, and I don't even mention things companies do above the law. I never hear good things about your labor laws. How come these things were not codified 100 years ago when unions and workers were strong? I guess the Mexican Revolution had something to do with this. We've always been a bit socialist. Modern slavery in USA. Yeah. For the U.S. to be the greatest country in the world, why is there no universal healthcare, education, etc.? Correct, Sassimo. Our government lets corporations believe in profit and greed. More than that, they've enshrined it in law. There was a ruling, like a Texas ruling or something, where they enshrined in law that companies, their duty is to the shareholders and profits at all costs, even workers suffering or dying. We can change all this. And I would just want to remind people that this is Mexico, where enshrined in their federal labor law, at the end of the year, they get a Christmas bonus, aguinaldo, half a month's salary. But most companies give workers a month of salary. Wouldn't that have been nice that this December you got a month of pay just because you're a fucking worker and you create that wealth for the company? If all of the workers don't show up, the CEO isn't making money, just so you know. He can't do it all, although he's paid like he can. And we can do this because here in America, all the laws we have, they were just fucking created most of the time by people who had enough money to buy off the politicians, i.e., look at Elon Musk paying $270 million to Donald Trump to help get him elected. It was rigged. And then he gets a special appointment in Doge and he gets to raid our data, basically dismantle everything he didn't like. He wasn't voted in. He didn't get our approval. He's an immigrant, illegal immigrant from South Africa, Elon Musk is. And he just got to have at with our government and our tax dollars. And what he did first was get rid of all the people who had any lawsuits that would protect us, the consumers. He got rid of all of those people. He made sure any lawsuit against his companies was disappeared. And that's only to protect us, because remember, this guy's putting self-driving cars, which he's been promising for a decade, on the road, which I don't know if you have to go on the road at all or walk by a road, but, you know, you could be in danger. Pazof, $4.99 super chat, thank you. Subscribed, glad to see a fellow New Englander fighting the good fight, hoping to get back once my service ends. Hey, thank you for your service. That's like my grandfather and a lot of my family members. I appreciate you. Yeah, we need you home. So I don't know where you're at or what you can say, but when you get home, you keep us posted and we're going to keep fighting for you, because this country's bullshit right now. Absolute bullshit. It's a mockery, and it's done in offense of the middle class. You know, they have absolutely ransacked everything. And they're making it worse day by day. But it's not too late. And this is what I'm trying to teach people. That just like here in Massachusetts, if you don't know, I helped fight to get this done. We implemented a millionaires tax. It's a 4% tax on people who have income over $1 million. 4%. If you can't live on an income over $1 million, you're living outside your means. You know how the media always tells poor people, why don't you just budget, don't buy a coffee, and then you can buy a house? Just makes no fucking sense. What really makes sense is if millionaires can't afford a tax, maybe you're living outside of your means. But the media is never saying that. That's why you need to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and when I go live, we come up with these things together and we fucking turn this media on its head. We tell Joe Rogan, well, Joe, if you can't be taxed, if Peter Thiel can't be taxed, isn't he living outside of his means? Why is nobody saying that to Joe Rogan when he's defending Peter Palantir Eater? But what I'm teaching you is that here in Massachusetts, we already did this. Because most mainstream outlets are not going to tell you about the millionaires tax Massachusetts implemented. No kid goes hungry in school. Your kids can get free breakfast and lunch at school. If you want a free bachelor's degree, you can, community college. We worked on roads, hired teachers, funded buses. We've done amazing things, and we came up with way more money than expected. And when people are like Peter Palantir Eater threatened to leave and say, I'm not going to stay if you're going to tax me. Guess what? We called their bluff. We have 39% more millionaires than before. We called their bluff. They're liars. That's what they do. That's how they got all that money. They lied to people. They said, oh yeah, I value you. That's why I underpay you. Hold on. FR though. For real though, I'm sick of being around zombies. I can't lie to you. Do you mean zombies as in like people who are not aware of this? That we can tax the rich, we can implement these laws, we can fight to get that wealth we created back, and we can make our communities amazing again. If that's what you're talking about, for real though, listen, if you're going to say an average person can't afford a small house in Massachusetts, you need to extend that to America. Nobody, the average home buyer in America right now is 50 years old. Don't act like Massachusetts is some exception, okay? The only exception we are in Massachusetts is we're fucking educated, we're healthy, we have a good quality of life, and we fucking have some of the least poverty, okay? So don't give me that. Don't act like, and again, link in the description, I linked an article to the millionaires tax because it talks about how much extra money we took in, billions of tax dollars that was not being used for good means. These wealthy people don't know how to spend their money. They buy politicians. They do stuff like Epstein Island and that freak show of a thing. So they have excess wealth, meaning they don't worry about price of egg, don't worry about heat. They just keep buying assets and then trying to rent them back at exorbitant prices. But this money coming back from the millionaires tax is going to good things. You ever been a child? You ever been a hungry child? You ever been a hungry child and tried to learn something? It's almost impossible. Kids can't focus when they're hungry. They're just hungry. And here in Massachusetts, because of this millionaires tax, no kid has to go to school and worry about a lunch debt or not having enough money to eat. That is a win. I don't give a shit if you're a Republican, Libertarian, or Democrat, or socialist like I am. I don't give a fuck. We should all, as Americans, agree that the kids in this country should not have to worry about going hungry. Yet 1 in 5 do. 1 in 5 American children are food insecure, a corporate word created for starving. But here in Massachusetts, we're fixing that with the tax on the rich. That's a win. That's a fucking win. That's how we start. So don't come in here saying like, oh, you can't afford a house in Massachusetts. You can't afford a house anywhere. But we're starting to pave the way. We're clawing that money back from these billionaires and millionaires that exploited us and did it, whether it was illegally. Look up the biggest theft in America, wage theft. That's the leading theft. It's not fucking purse snatchers. It's not immigrants. It's nothing like that. The biggest theft in America by far is wage theft. That's corporations stealing your money. And because of Elon Musk getting rid of all these government departments that would help get that money back for you, these labor departments, because he hates that shit and he would like to keep, living by no laws because he has money and why should he have to adhere to the same laws we all do? But he likes using our infrastructure. He certainly fucking does. But that's the greatest theft here in America. They're stealing from us. Every single day it's happening. It's probably happened to you and you don't even know it. And then you don't even know who to talk to because who do you go to if they get rid of that government department? What, are you going to ask the corporation for your money back? Good luck with that. The biggest inside heist. Yeah. Smokey busting out the OG MAGA cult handbook insult. Get a job. I hear that all the time. I have a few of them. What is that going to fucking do? Everybody's underpaid and overworked anyways. It just shows me, when people come in here and say, get a job, it just shows me that they are the exact ripe suckers Donald Trump is looking for. They are suckers. They are fools, and they don't know how to think. They can't come up with anything, so they just wait. They say, Donald, tell me what to say. Tell me what to say, please. Hoax. Okay, hoax. Oh, I don't know what that means, so I'll just repeat it. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a hunt. It's a hoax. It's a hunt. It's a hoax. Get a job? What the fuck are you talking about? You're probably one of these corporate or fucking Russian bots that are paid to come in here and try to keep these people divided. Don't let them know that shit can be better. Don't tell them about the Christmas bonuses in Mexico. We don't want them to know about that, We don't want them to know that in Mexico, enshrined in federal labor law, they have aguinaldo, a half-month salary that they're given as a Christmas bonus. Christmas bonuses still exist. Mexico's living the American dream, folks. Holy shit. And then, in the Netherlands, burnout is legally recognized reason for sick leave. Workers are entitled to at least 70% of their pay up to 104 weeks. So you can say, man, I'm in burnout right now. I need some time away. And in the Netherlands, they've recognized that as a good reason for sick leave. And you can, for 104 weeks, you could take 70% of your pay if you have burnout. Who the fuck works for a living and would be like, no, I don't want that? That's when I know people are just full of shit and they're just hateful. They just, whether it's racism, bigotry, homophobia, transphobia, whatever kind of hate they hold in their heart because they're insecure and they fucking weren't loved as a child, and their shadow and ego and id and all that are running and ruining their lives. Because if you say no to something like this, you're fucking wrong. Not enough people tell you in your life that you're wrong. Everybody who's worked for a living experiences burnout. And the fact that the Netherlands is leading the way and saying, hey man, if you're burnt out, take up to 104 weeks, 70% of your pay, get readjusted. You're important to this society. J666, thank you for the $2. Appreciate your super chat. At least you don't support a child in Choma. That's right, I don't. I do not. I do not. FDJT. 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 Sorry. Thanks for the super chat. Sorry. My son got some music stuff for Christmas. Hold on. I got to figure out how this stuff works, and we'll do some Joe Rogan and Donald Trump samples and make a song. Right. Oh my God, they support a Joe Mo. Oh my God. I love that this maggot Billy, who, just so everybody's aware, don't let Billy around your kids. He supports Donald Trump and ignores all the Epstein stuff. But I love the people that come in here and go, this guy does this for a living. Here's the thing about America. You should be able to work one job 30 hours a week, and that's pushing it. One job 20 hours a week and be able to live. Go on vacation, afford your health care, afford a higher education, afford a home. What America do you want to live in where people need 3-4 jobs and still vote based on, can you lower eggs, sir? Like, your take is, I'm a class traitor and I want everyone to suffer. And you probably, I'm guessing, inherited your mom's house, live with your parents. You know, because you're not the fucking brightest person. Let's put it like that. You come in here often enough that I see your comments. You know, your generational wealth has imbued you with the power to shit on people less fortunate. And your whole take is like, you should just have more jobs. That's your vision for America? Because mine is, you should be able to work 3 days a week, have 4 days off, be able to go on multiple vacations a year. If you get burnout, you can take this. Just like I actually want to celebrate Christmas. I think there is a war on Christmas, but it's actually a corporate war on Christmas, where they don't want to appreciate the people who created that wealth for them. It's a corporate war on Christmas, because when you start to read about the federal labor laws in Mexico and how they get a half-month salary every December, and for some workers, they get a month's salary every December, you realize that the true war on Christmas is a corporate one against the American worker. So I'm just tired of the people coming in here regurgitating the same shit. Like, no, we should just all be working 40 jobs and no one should ever see their family or create art. We should all just be miserable and hope that one day we'll afford egg. Like, that's your fucking vision, man? You're winning. Your team's won. You voted a PDF file who fucking is a failed CEO into the White House, who can't even remember fucking anything, and then he calls 8-year-old beautiful. So fucking disgusting. And you worship him because he's mean to the people that make you feel insecure.
You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
I'm 8.
That was on Christmas Day. That's your president, not my president. These people. These people. I love it. They can't think of anything. They're like, oh, get a job. Did you guys see the South Park writer who purchased the domain names for the Kennedy Center? The South Park dude, what's his name? Something, I don't know his name. It was so funny. He bought TrumpKennedyCenter.org, TrumpKennedyCenter.com. Brilliant. There were people early in the internet days that would buy a bunch of website domains and then sell them. It'd sit on the websites. Did you guys see this? A fake video of Epstein's was released by the DOJ and then taken down. Interesting. They're really very competent, folks. And then if you know about how many times his name is in there, and we'll go over it. Today has kind of been, we're having a fun day, you know. I hate going into that stuff because I just think these survivors are some of the bravest, courageous, strongest people on earth. And for them to still not get any accountability or justice, or to watch Donald Trump redact the names of the co-conspirators and still protect the PDF files is disgusting, you know. And then you see the irony of all these MAGAs being like, oh, we should, you know, do this to PDF files, do this. And it's like, you're not holding any of your leadership accountable. You're allowing this. If you're still supporting Donald Trump, let me be very clear, you're still complicit in this. You are complicit in this. You are allowing everything that happened on Epstein Island, those 10 conspirators, to walk around with no accountability. You are part of the problem. You are. So if you're supporting him, just understand that, you know, these people will be tried. These people will. When we, the people, take this country back from these chomos, they will be tried for their crimes against humanity, their lies, their illegal moves. But you, who will be watching at home, just know this rests on your soul too. You allowed this to happen. You are complicit. For anybody who still supports these monsters, you are complicit. This is what we're fighting for, by the way, if you're new here. If you're new here, welcome. If you're new here, we want to ban stock trading, overturn Citizens United right now, and get rid of the fucking electoral college. Healthcare for all, check all this stuff out. Federal minimum wage needs to be $66 an hour, though. That 20 is outdated. $66 an hour. I also believe we should have a cap on age for people in politics, 55. People should retire at 45. It should be a 3-day work week with 4 days off. We have the technology. We're more productive than ever. All these things can happen. We just need to say, hey, we're done doing all the work and fucking making you all this money. We can see that somebody's going to have trillions and we still don't have healthcare. No more. No more. We're fucking done. We got legalized burnout, as Netherlands has declared respected sickness leave. Yeah, listen. Kuma Bjorn. We'll outlaw redistricting. That's fine. We need, you know, people to come up with new things, because we're paving the way for a new. Wait, hold on. Someone said jail broligarchs. Oh, what's up, MC? Jail the broligarchs. We're gonna jail the broligarchs, and we're gonna tax billionaires into extinction. You know, the other thing is we need 100% tax. So let me bring this up because we've done it before. FDR in 1945 did 94% tax on income over 200,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's 3.5 million. If you're making 3.5 million, you can afford that tax. If you can't, you're living outside of your means. Stop buying shit on Klarna. You have millions. But we're going to tax billionaires at 100%, everything over a billion. So you can make up to 999 million. And once it ticks to a billion, that money is taxed at 100%. It goes back to our communities so kids don't go hungry, so everyone has a home, so we can guarantee, because we believe in families, right? So once you have a kid, you get 5 years off, guaranteed. 70% salary, 5 years to raise them in that most crucial time. So this is important stuff that we're going to push for. And we've done stuff like this in the past, if you just know a little bit of American history. And we're going to push for it. But we got to silence these fucking voices like this Numrod, a complete goof, fucking absolute moron. And, there's going to be Christians who go, oh, that's whatever. They're going to say something. But just remember, for John the Baptist has come neither eating bread nor drinking wine. And he said he has a demon. The Son of Man, Jesus, has come eating and drinking, and you say, look, a man who's a glutton and a heavy wine drinker, a friend to tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is vindicated and shown to be right by all her children. So what this essentially means is that the people at the time even accused Jesus of being a glutton, a drinker, a friend to tax collectors, who were horrible people at the time, and sinners. And Jesus said, no, man, you are misconstruing shit. Jesus didn't come to sit at the right hand of the most powerful of the oligarchs. He came to be with the vulnerable and to help those and to make sure the needs were met of the needy, to heal the people needing healing. And he never charged a copay. And when he fed people with the loaves and the fish, he never asked if they had met their 40-hour work week quota. So we can do this shit. It's biblical, and it works. Like I've talked about here in Massachusetts. And if it didn't work, Massachusetts would look like Oklahoma. Bunch of fucking morons. And we're not. We're not. Sorry, Oklahoma. Get mad at the stats. But there are good people in Oklahoma. Let me just say that. I haven't met them yet. I don't know many Oklahomans, but if you're one of them there fighting the good fight, then God bless you and Godspeed. And keep fighting. Keep speaking out. Keep speaking out. They're scared of us. That's why these trolls come in the chat and say, why don't you go get a job? You know why? You know why they say that? You know what the meaning behind that is? Is they're trying to say, please stop informing people of this shit. We can't let this stuff get out. If people know that in Massachusetts, a millionaire's tax worked, and not only did the millionaires not leave, but we got 39% more millionaires, then the people will want to do this stuff. So they come into my chat, tell me to get a job, or what a loser, or mom's basement, and they say this stuff because really they're not who they say they are. They're usually, like we've seen, Southeast Asian, Nigerian princes, maybe Russian, or they're even corporate bootlickers who could even be paid to just come in here and disseminate misinformation to try to fight against this stuff. You see it all the time, and it's exposed all the time, usually by morons like Elon Musk. But they do that because they want us to be quiet. They don't want us to spread the good word. And not like the good word and like Jesus died for your sins, but the good word that millionaire taxes work, wealth taxes work. They work so superb. We got 39% more millionaires. You can get a free bachelor's degree and no kid goes hungry at school. They work fucking impeccably. And we should implement them across the land. So they have their little trolls come in here and say, oh, you just want handouts. No, the rich people want handouts. That's why they do what they do. That's why they don't pay their people enough, because they want to, like Elon Musk did, put a video game thing in his office so he could just play video games. Well, the people who actually are smart do the work for him, and he just extrapolates the wealth from them and doesn't pay them enough. That's how he made so much, okay? And that's why they tell us to be quiet, because once you know this, once you hear this, you can't unhear it. That's just science. You can't unhear something. So the more people we share this with, the more the video gets shared, the more you tell people, hey, join us, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, join us. We might talk about new things and a new perspective and not just regurgitate Joe Rogan's, Donald Trump's mainstream media narrative of what they need you to believe. Or even if it doesn't even make sense, it contradicts itself, but it's just how the way it is, and they got to defend the status quo because the status quo has made them a lot of money. And they don't want you to understand that other things are happening across this globe, just like we learned today in Mexico. They have aguinaldo, which is the Christmas bonus of a half-month salary or a full-month salary. In Netherlands, they have recognized for sick leave burnout, which you can get 70% of your pay for 104 weeks. So the more we learn this stuff in America, we go, why can't we do that? You know, who the fuck's saying we can't do that? Is it the CEO of Target or the CEO of Kellogg's? Is it the CEO of CVS? Which lobbyist is saying we can't have that? Because we deserve it and you deserve it. Know your worth. Know your worth. Your worth is not trying to work 3 jobs to put fucking egg on the table so you die early because the healthcare wasn't good enough and you were already burned out and you never got to take a day off for that burnout and your kids miss you and on your grave you ain't gonna put employee of the month or fucking grind and hustle, you know, rise and grind. That goes on nobody's gravestone. I used to go and do paranormal videos. I used to go to graveyards. You think I saw a lot of rise and grind on gravestones? You fucking crazy. You know what I saw? Beloved father, beloved mother, beloved sister, beloved daughter, beloved brother. That's what I saw. Because what do they want on their grave? The thing they cherish the most, time with their family. And that's what I'm fighting for you and I, to make this country better. Because there are people and governments implementing this in ways that benefit the people of their country, that guarantee the welfare of their citizenry. That's the whole reason we have a government. It's not to militarize them so they can fucking abuse us. And this is happening across the world. And I'm trying to show you that. So when you hear the Tucker Carlsons, the Joe Rogans, the fucking bullshit Ben Shapinos and Timmy Pools talk about the culture war, they're distracting you. But moreover, there are ways to improve this fucking existence. And you ain't got long, so we need to get on it, you know? No one says beloved state or politician. That's true. I'm going to silence the privilege, dude, because the greatest love of this country, just so people understand, because this is another tactic out of the fucking MAGA playbook when they're saying, hoax, witch hunt, he wasn't on the list, Jeffrey Epstein, he left Jeffrey Epstein, when they're going down the MAGA playbook of distraction, fucking politics, of things to say, and they tell you, oh, you don't love America. I love America way fucking more than you. You want to know why? Because when I see Americans suffering, I go, we need to change it. And you fucking punk troll, you want to defend the status quo. America isn't about being, from its inception, it was never, ever about just going, well, here, we're just going to do one thing and that's what it's going to be for the rest of the fucking time. Why do you think we have amendments to the Constitution, you fucking nerd? Do you know what amendment means? Do you know what amendment means? They amended it. They got it wrong. They had to change it. So even in the fucking Constitution, it's telling you that the most American thing you can do is change it. Look at women's suffrage, the civil rights, the workers' rights, the Civil War. Look at all these movements throughout time. Hold on, let me get some reverb on here. Look at all these movements throughout time. That reverb didn't sound good. Through time. What were the people doing throughout time? The Americans that were truly American weren't defending the status quo. They saw other Americans suffering and they said, we gotta do better, man. We gotta fucking do better. That's what it means to be an American. That you see other people suffering and you go, America is a place where everyone should want to feel like they belong. And then we change shit. Because it's all man-made. Money is made up. The laws are written by man, and we can change it at any fucking goddamn time. And you see the wealthy and powerful do it whenever it fits their needs. Why can't we do it for us, huh? Why are you such a naysayer? Why are you such a lack of creative? May you be blessed in the thought of creativity, and you see beyond your narrow little minded scope. Delusions of grandeur? Halo, what you don't understand is the taxes, the rent, and all that stuff you apply to Massachusetts is everywhere. Guess what? All of America became Massachusetts without the greatness of Massachusetts, without the education, without the Cape Cod, without the fucking quaint living. Everywhere, it's too expensive to live. There isn't a place you can fucking go in America where people are like, oh, it's cheap, it's very great now. And I feel worse, or maybe I don't, but I feel bad for the people who live in places like Tornado Alley, the middle of the country, never seen the ocean, and even it's too expensive for them. Why do you think all those people voted for Donald Trump? Because they were hoping he would lower the price of egg. They weren't voting on price of egg if shit's going good. You know what I mean? So stop using Massachusetts as some exception that, oh, our stuff is too high. It's too high everywhere. Last election, people voted for price of egg. I can't explain this enough because I've been along a long time and I've never seen price of egg come up in fucking voting. That's how well they distracted us from universal health care. Okay? Like, that was the distraction. They're like, let's get these suckers against a rock and a hard place, so they're begging for us to bring egg price down. And then they'll forget all about healthcare. And what we'll do is, once we get into power, we'll just strip them of their healthcare. Then what are they going to do? Deal with it? I love these people that just say dumb stuff. Just shut the fuck up. How about that? My brother moved to Florida. It is not damn cheap. So, I don't know what to tell you, man. And if you're going to be one of those people that go, gas is this much and eggs are this much, you're missing the point, buddy. You're missing the point. America's in a recession, and the news won't tell you. And the government deleted and fired all the people who could tell you that stuff. If you're telling me America's never been better, I don't know if anybody should trust you. Or, you know what? YouTube's free. Why don't you go do a live stream where you brag about how great everything is, you know? Why don't you just go to the store and ring up a couple bags of groceries and go, look at how cheap this is. It only cost half my paycheck. Look, hold on. Bitter Sailor. Sucks for you, brother, I guess. And you're the person who I would say don't hit subscribe. Other people hit subscribe. You're the person who, is anti-American. When you say it sucks for you, and people are like, hey, as an American, we're working multiple jobs. We can't afford to live. Our healthcare is out of control. We're gatekept from education. All these things are happening, and you go, sucks for you, and you're just like, well, I'm privileged, My parents had a home. I get to live with them until I could fucking buy the house from them, or whatever your situation is. Most of these people won't tell you about how their parents endured that, birthed them with generational wealth, like Donald Trump. He's not going to tell you that he created nothing. It was Fred Trump who was the racist asshole that gave him all his wealth. And I know that personally because I work with quite a few wealthy people who really like to hide that fact. They pretend like they did all the work. And it's like, really? Where were you living till you were 30? That's interesting. It must be nice with no fucking rent. But I just want to point out that your comment, you're anti-American. You can't claim to love America but hate the people in it. What do you like the land? What do you go outside and kiss the land every day and just go, I love this land? All the people, I hope, suffer, but the land is pretty good. Most of it's not mine, but it's pretty good. You can't love America and hate the people in it. You couldn't do anything with what Trump was given. That's one of the funniest. Do you know before Biden, who was president? Like, that's the funniest thing when people say shit like that. I love when people are like, well, Trump was handed a bad economy. Who'd he get it from? Himself? Have you fucking seen anything Donald Trump has done? Go watch the Barbara Walters interview with Donald Trump where he's like bragging about being a good businessman. And she's like, no. She's like, you're bankrupt. You're getting bailed out by banks. You want people to look up to that? I should have grabbed the clip. Holy shit. Some people are so stupid. I wonder if, do you know how to think? Do you know how to think? So you're saying like, oh, Trump couldn't do anything with this. He was given a bad time from Joe Biden, who was, well, if we're going to go by your theory, then Joe Biden must have been given a bad time by Donald Trump. Oh, that's fucking weird. You know what I mean? It's just dumb. Who's talking about being a businessman? I don't want to be a businessman. Dave, is that your Alpha Sigma skibbity thing? Are you like, I'm a businessman? Are you like Jay-Z? Are you like Jay-Z? You know the Jay-Z line? He's like, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't want to see people in my country suffer. I don't give a shit about being a businessman. And you shouldn't either. The funniest part is like these people who have been co-opted into thinking business is about like, they don't understand, number one, businesses only exist to make profits. That's right. That's it. So businesses, by definition, are just meant to exploit people. So they're not good for communities. Like this, that's why we have regulations. Because if it was left to the businesses, and there was no regulations, they wouldn't pay you minimum wage. They would pay you nothing. They would exploit you. Business wants all the profits. They just want to consume all the profits. I don't want to be that. But the proof in the pudding of when certain businesses do operate by better standards, like the guy we talked about who out in Seattle, he runs this credit card company or some swipe type company, and he changed his minimum wage to $70,000 a year. I did this the other day, go back a couple weeks, and it was a big story, and all the media outlets covered it because they were like, he's going to fail. This is socialism. It turns out his business has never been better, and all he did was pay people, give people time off, and treat people like people. So yeah, businessman is kind of an insult. I don't want to exploit people. 70K is nothing in Seattle. This was 2014, I think it was. And again, I forget when I went over this, 2 weeks ago or so, because it was like an update on Dan Price. That's his name. It was an update on Dan Price's company. I forget the company name. But he talked about how he raised it since then. I think it was 2014 or 2015 when he initially set that 70 minimum wage. And he talked about all the other benefits, how many people apply to his jobs now, how he's never looking for workers, never having turnout. He talks about how his employees couldn't afford a house, or he talks about all the stats like homes, families, vacation, all this shit. He compares it to before he raised wages and after, and people's lives changed. And that's what I'm talking about here. For everybody who's naysaying this shit, I want you to understand what I'm talking about is your life. You might, like that guy who said, sucks for you, brother. You might go, I'm all set, so fuck everybody else. But here's the thing. When the system collapses, because it's heading that way, do you think you're going to be immune to it? You live in a community, You're dependent on that fucking Wi-Fi that's coming to your house. And if the system collapses, ain't going to be good for you. But more importantly, your life probably isn't, peak spectacular. And what I mean is there's probably things that you're like budgeting for. Media tells you to budget. Stop buying a coffee and you can go on vacation. Right. Okay. I don't buy coffee, but yeah, I'm sure that's the issue. If I just saved up my coffee money, I could totally fucking buy a house. Who the fuck is believing this shit? They're like, stop buying avocado toast and you'll afford a home. What fucking avocado toast is fucking $1 million? Whatever. Who fucking cares? I'm just trying to get the point across that, like, we don't have to fucking vote for the price of egg. We don't have to not have guaranteed parental leave when you have a kid. We don't have to earn sick time. You get a job, you have to earn your sick time. You can't even be sick yet, you have to earn it. And other countries around the world, like I showed you earlier, do this shit. I love that MAGA thinks there's a war on Christmas, but, the only war on Christmas is a corporate war against the workers at Christmas time. They want you to work on Christmas, Christmas Eve. They want you. Do you think the CEOs are working? Fuck no, they're not. They probably haven't worked all month. Where in Mexico, the federal labor law designates a half-month salary to workers as a Christmas bonus. The more you know. It's important to learn this shit because, that's the real war on Christmas. Why are these trillion-dollar fucking companies, gazillion-dollar companies, not fucking supporting us, the consumers, the workers who make this economy go? because they're greedy, man. There are a hell of a lot of trolls. There always are, and there always will be. And you just fucking ignore them. And you keep showing the people who need to hear this. And you teach them, and you share it, and you go, you spread this information. Because the trolls are always going to stay there, and they're always going to be there, and they're always going to defend the status quo because they get to live at their mom's house and then buy it from her, and they think they're okay while everybody else suffers around them, and the neighborhood changes, and things aren't like they used to be. And I want to go back to them, but they don't realize that back to then meant high tax rates, regulations, a good working class, a good middle class, and they don't see the signs. And then because of their own insecurities, because they never accomplished anything in their life, I mean, really, their parents handed them most of the shit, makes them really insecure as a fucking person. So then when some fucking grifter PDF file comes along who's all over the Epstein files and promises to release them unredacted, sells them on this hatred of others. They glom onto it because probably they don't have many friends and their takes are shitty. So those people will always exist, but we're talking to the other people. We're talking to the communities, the builders, the people who want to create something better for tomorrow. That's who we're talking about. God, these fucking racists are just idiots. Don't come back tomorrow. I want to play this clip for this person again, the guy who said the Clinton files. I just want to remind you, what did Donald Trump say?
If you go back, I mean, it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats.
Healthcare.
Liberal in healthcare. We have to take care of people that are sick.
Universal health coverage.
I love universal. Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I mean, I'm a little biased because I've known her for years. I live in New York. She lives in New York. And I've known her and her husband for years, and I really like them both a lot.
The Clinton files. Clinton's asking for the Trumpstein files to be released in full. Bill Clinton is. He's saying, just release them, dude. What do you got to hide? He's like, just release them. Stop trying to insinuate something. Release them. Because he knew, and some of the stuff that has leaked out is heinous against this man. And anybody who still supports him, anybody who's still sitting by his side is complicit. You're complicit in this. Just want to be very, very clear. You know, when you start looking for new identities in Argentina, you helped enable this. You did. So, I want to show you this. I love this. There's nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. Ernest Hemingway. Essentially, this is like a Jesus Christ saying, because there's nothing noble in being superior to other people. That's why Jesus washed his disciples' feet. And they were like, no. And he's like, all right. Wash my hair, my hands, everything. Jesus washed feet. He served the servants. He healed the sick. He hung out with the tax collectors and the sinners. What is noble is when you, and again, this is a Jesus message, when you do take up that cross and you become superior to your former self, you reject the ways of your past. And you say, I was stupid, I was foolish, I didn't know, I hadn't heard that yet. You can't unhear things. And once you hear and it starts knocking around like a pinball in there, you can't unhear it. Ignorance is gone. And you can be superior to your former self and be a better person. That's what we're doing. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's hang out again sometime. Appreciate you guys.